Yo! Nyanta! Nyanta's going fucking in, dude. He is going in. When you see this cat man fucking open his eyes, you know shit is getting serious. Like, he just opened his eyes. Like, when Nyanta opens his eyes, he's looking over this cliff at this giant ass army of dragons. Shit is hitting the fan. Like, oh my god. So Nyanta, man, we're gonna get to see Nyanta up against like an army of dragons. Oh, dude, next week's episode cannot come fast enough. Like, what is with anime today? Dude, anime's being so good today, man. Freaking hey, anime and manga's on a roll today. So here's the thing. Nyanta at the end, he's just standing on this cliff, and you just see him like his hands behind his back and all that. You just see him standing on this cliff, and all of a sudden you see the zoom in on his face, and you see him open his eyes, and I'm like, whoa! And then you see him turn around back, and you see him looking at this giant ass army. I'm like, this is gonna be hot. This is straight up hot. Like, we're gonna get to see Nyanta actually serious. Like, he's straight up serious. You can tell when this dude opens his eyes. Yeah. So the ending took me by surprise. Like, the episode for the most part was a character development driven episode. That's what it was. It was building up some, mysteries, plot threads that are building up for this arc, and that was pretty much what majority of this episode was. And then the ending came around, and I'm like, whoa, what? So, Log Horizon, fucking hot. Like, I mean, we haven't really had much action recently. Log Horizon usually is a series based on economics, politics, stuff like that, and it's not really based on action. So when we do get action, usually it's pretty damn good. It really is when it comes to some action in Log Horizon. So I'm looking forward to this upcoming action, this fight between Nyanta and these dragons. Like, oh my god. I know for a fact next week is probably going to be amazing. Like, we're probably going to see Nyanta jumping on some freaking dragons with his awesome agility, and he's hopping on dragons, probably stabbing them and shit. Dude, that would be epic if I see that. But moving past that, okay, let's talk about the details of this episode. So, this episode, for the most part, it's a very slow-paced episode, which I like. I like slow-paced episodes, especially like this, that take time to develop side characters, and we need to know more about them. I like that. I like getting to see this development of her along with Rudy and their connections in this episode, and finding out more little bit of information about the language system of Log Horizon. So, I know it's very apparent and it's obvious when it comes to games. Like World of Warcraft, the game I used to play a lot when I was in MMOs, World of Warcraft had this language system where different, races had their own language, and it makes a lot of sense how Log Horizon would have something like this. So once again, Log Horizon showing you how to really do an MMORPG type series. Because this right here, once again, I love the elements of a game implemented into Log Horizon. For instance, how the NPCs have their own selective language, they talk with this language, and there's like an auto-translator for the adventurers to be able to understand them. But in some of the languages, pretty much, like some like translations, let's say music or whatever, or colors, like let's say if you were to say rainbow, it would be 7 colors on the, people land. That's what they would think it is. And it would be 42 if you're trying to talk about, like, music. So, to see that, it's pretty interesting to note that there is languages, like a language system in this series. So, I'm glad that was added in, and it's definitely going to probably play a role later on in the future, most likely for different languages with different races and stuff like that, for different NPCs way down the road. But, that was really cool. I like getting to see some more development with the people of the land, and seeing the status of the people of the land. Like, there's probably some instances where people in land can't really communicate well with adventurers because of their certain languages. And I wonder, since the game, like Log Horizon's becoming more like a real world, since we do know the world is expanding and it's changing and stuff like that, it's becoming more in-depth with actually being towards the real world, I wonder if there will become a time to when the language system, like auto-translations, language system is completely gone. I wonder if that will ever happen, like if it completely just gets axed out of the picture and it becomes like real languages. You would have to learn the language of the different race to be able to understand them. I wonder if Log Horizon might eventually become something like that. But the main thing with this episode, besides the character development of Rudy, getting to see where he travels off to when he goes off by himself, and along with, Isuku's actual development alongside of him, we also get a little bit of plot threads building up around Toya and Kuroha in this episode. And I wonder what direction that's going to go. I really do, because there's a lot of mystery right there, a lot of, questions I have about that scene in this episode, but it's definitely building up to something very interesting. And then you move on to the shrine parts. Now, this is the part that really shocked me about this episode. Like, apparently, those movable shrines that, the guild or whatever, the Odyssey Knights are carrying around, from what I understand, from what was speculated in this episode, is that they're blocking where you can communicate with people across large distances. For instance, like, Shiroe cannot contact Nyanta or even, like, Sarada and all of them because of these shrines. And it's messing with adventurers, telepathy. So, if that is true, and if that's really what's going on here, that's not good. Like, oh shit. Like, that could definitely be used to raid a city. Like, if that was used, like, if someone walked into Akiba or something with that and put it right dab in the middle of the city, you realize how quickly that would destroy, like, tactics and, command and ordership, like, order on the battlefield. Like, for instance, majority of the tactics used in this series, like Shiroe, when he makes tactics, it's through telepathy. He talks to his teammates in their mind. And if those shrines do that, and if they were to, like, let's say, come into Akiba and set up, well-placed shrines all over the place, and it blocks the conversations and communications, we don't technically know how large the distance is. If it can block the entire town of Akiba, like, an entire army can come inside of there and fuck everything up, like, because they can't make tactics. Like, Shiroe couldn't talk to his, squad members and stuff like that through telepathy. You would have to be face-to-face with them. So, that overall shrine, if it does have the capabilities of blocking out telepathy and talking with your teammates, that item could really help out future raids. Like, not good. That's not good, actually, because if someone wants to use that and abuse it, they can take over a city with relative ease. Because usually majority of people in MMOs, or what they've done so far that's been displayed, they talk through their minds. So, we'll have to see. Overall, episode of Log Horizon Season 2. Very good. Hyped up for next week's episode. Nyanta going in. He's going to wreck some bitches, pretty much. He's going to just destroy those dragons. So, tell me your thoughts. I love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.